What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. The LA Chargers, man, they clinched a playoff spot with the dub over the Patriots today. And before the season, I would not have told you that this team was going to be a playoff team. And this is my favorite team in the league. I thought they were going to be like 5 or 6 wins. First year of the rebuild, just kind of try to figure this team out. They had a lot of holes, seemingly, before the season started. But wow, they've really flipped the script. They're going to make the playoffs. Obviously, they're going to be the 5 or the 6 seed. Hopefully, they can get to that 5 seed, see if they can take on the Texans, just because the Texans are banged up, and I think that's an easier matchup. But I want to talk about the other guys that made this all possible, because we know the Justin Herberts, the Lad McConkeys, the Derwin Jameses, the Khalil Macks, the Joey Bosa's, and guys like that are, household names. But these other guys that really made this mission possible, because this was a team that seemingly, like I said, had a lot of holes, and these dudes just came in and filled them all. And I'm going to start with my personal favorite in terms of who surprised me the most. Well, not surprised me, but who I was happiest to see succeed the most. But I want to know in the comments who you were most pleased with this season outside of the main star guys, because we know what Herb can do. We know Derwin James. Give me like an underrated guy on the team that you think played very well. I'm going to start Deion Henley. Linebacker, they've got a force with him. He is legit. That man's going to be a stud for a long time. Over 140 tackles, and he's just been amazing in year 2. Couldn't find the field last year in a certain somebody's defense. But Jesse Minter said, you know what, you're going to start, and we're going to see what we got with you. And they found out they got a stud. And Deion Henley, just a personality too. He's a very funny dude. I love the fact that he's going to be leading this defense for years to come, because the man is just everywhere. 7 pass deflections. He can play in coverage. He can play in space. And finding a linebacker that is fast and hits hard, athletic as hell. Deion Henley deserves a ton of credit, because he's a big reason this defense is able to play the way it does. So shout out to Deion. I think he deserves a lot of credit. Another guy, Elijah Molden, that was a castaway from the Titans, didn't get any love from anybody in the offseason except for the Chargers. And unfortunately, his season is over after this Patriots game. I believe he broke his fibula or his tibia, one of the bones in the leg. His season's over. But he was really good this year, really solid in that secondary next to Derwin James and next to the rookies. I just thought he played well. He was a playmaker, excellent tackler. I think he had 3 or 4 picks. Was really happy with how he did this season. Sucks the way it's going to end for him this year, but he was so vital to how they were playing and just the scheme in the secondary. Got to give him a lot of credit. And then after him, if we want to keep it in the secondary, I want to talk about these rookies, Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart. To find your starting cornerback duo for the next 5 to 10 years in the 5th round in the same draft. Excellent job by Joe Ortiz for one, but these two just played amazing, right? Cam Hart missed some games with injury, but they just play, they contrast each other so well, where Tarheeb Still's more of the ball hawk and kind of the sticky coverage guy, and Cam Hart is just the hit stick that if you get touched by Cam Hart, you just got hit by Cam Hart. And he reminds me a lot of what Derwin James is like, but at the corner position. So I think that those two, Derwin and Cam Hart, being just headhunters out there is sick for the defense. So I love that stuff. These rookies, you couldn't have been more happy with what you got out of them. They've been awesome. Just got to give both of those guys some credit. To go to the D-line, Poona Ford was a castaway from the Bills, kind of struggled a little bit there, but was just a really good run stuffer. And if you know what the Chargers dealt with the last few years, that run defense was ass. And this year they were much, much more improved. Poona Ford, and then T.R. Tart is another one. I think Big Man had a pick earlier in the season too. They just did such a good job rotating on that interior D-line and making plays, rushing the QB. Not that they're going to get 4 or 5 sacks, but they're going to get some pressures. They're going to make the game. They're going to make a stamp on the game. And I thought Poona Ford and T.R. Tart, a couple dudes that deserve a lot of credit. Backup linebacker like Troy Dye steps in when Perryman goes down, and it's like they don't miss a beat. He's making plays in space. He's making great tackles on 3rd down. They're getting off the field. Troy Dye stepped in really damn well for Denzel Perryman. And those are the things, is that you just got a bunch of dudes that just stepped up. And they didn't play at their average level. They played at their best level. And that was something that I think Jesse Minter deserves a lot of credit for. But Poona and Tier, really love what they did on the interior D-line there. Because Chargers fans, we know we've been struggling against the run for so long. I think Christian Fulton in the secondary, he was a castaway from the Titans. He played pretty solid this year. Did have a couple games that were rough, I will say that for sure. But he was an excellent tackler. And this is what I will tell you about cornerbacks. They don't get any shine because the only time you really ever see them is when something bad happens, right? Like, that's the only, people don't notice the pass breakup. They're like, whatever, it was one pass breakup. They notice a 75-yard touchdown. Now, Christian Fulton, I was very happy with the fact that a lot of times, if it was a 10 or a 15-yard gain, that's all it was. It didn't balloon into 35 or 40 like the Chargers secondary would give up in years past. He's a good tackler, made quite a few pass breakups, had a good year, I think, overall, while also dealing with a knee injury throughout kind of this whole thing. He's been really good for them, but he's important to the identity of the defense because of the tackling. If you can't tackle, you're not playing in Jesse Minter's defense. Asante Samuel Jr. has not touched the field in like 3 months because of this. And I think that if that's going to be the main staple, like, hey, you got to be able to stick your nose in there and make a play, that's something I want. I will live with that. If you give up a touchdown every once in a while, I will live with that. If you're putting your body out there to make sure that you get this stop on third down or don't let this play blow up, I think Christian Fulton is kind of the embodiment of that for the Chargers. Obviously, you have Tuli Tuipulotu, who was just really damn good in year 2. Tom Telesco, that was a hit for him as much as I don't like what Tom did in his time drafting for the Chargers. Tuli is just really good. Just a bull rush up the middle. The only reason we just don't see more of him is because he has to rotate with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. That's just, you got to divvy up so many snaps for these guys, and you can't put them all on the field at the same time, but in reality, you want them as fresh as they can possibly be. So playing them all at the same time, probably going to drain them, and, it's not going to be as beneficial to the team in the long run. But Tuli was really good. I think he had 7.5 or 8 sacks. Obviously, we still have one more game. But I think he's just a special talent. And I think him, Dayon, Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still, and just there's several others, but just the young guys on this defense, just seeing the young guys in this identity that they've built, I love it. I love it. These guys all deserve so much credit for stepping up to levels that we didn't know if they were going to be able to do, and they've been exceptional. That's kind of the main guys on the. I think Bud Dupree had a pretty good year for the Chargers. I think even if you want to go to the guys that really like fresh off the street, like Marcus May and Tony Jefferson, they stepped in when the defense was missing 3-4 starters in the secondary and played admirable. They played good. You would think if you're getting these guys off the street, off the practice squad, that they're going to be burnt toast and barbecue chicken. They were the very opposite of that. They were very good in stepping up. And I think that's the stuff that matters the most, is that they just stepped up. So many guys did that. And the defense, that's kind of the whole of it. The offense, on the other hand, like I told you, I'm not going to talk much about Justin Herbert. That's a top 5 quarterback. If you disagree, debate with a wall. It's the truth. Ladd McConkey was really good. Those guys we know. We knew that. Throughout the season, they've been talked about enough. J.K. Dobbins, my dog. Almost 1,000 scrimmage yards, all-purpose yards, whatever you want to call it. And I think he has like 8 or 9 touchdowns. Missed 4 games this year due to injury. But if Joe Burrow doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, it should be thrown to J.K. Dobbins, because the torn ACLs, the torn Achilles, and all these injuries that he's fought through to get back into almost average 5 yards a carry on an offensive line that, like, we're going to talk about the tackles, but the interior of that offensive line is trash. Just to be blunt about it, it is the worst part of the team. J.K. Dobbins averaging almost 5 yards a carry with that is insanely impressive, in my opinion. And I just think he deserves all the credit, all the love that the Chargers fans can give him, because I think this offseason, I don't know, he's not going to get big money just because of that injury history. But if he gets a nice low contract, I'd be really happy for him, just to put it that simply. I think, and this is going to be one that's probably going to be very controversial, I think Quentin Johnston was actually pretty decent this year. If we the Ravens game was bad, just to put it simply, but leading the team in 8 touchdowns is really good, no matter who you are. That's a decent year for a receiver. Is he the guy that's going to go for 1,000 yards? Probably not. That doesn't seem like it's going to be him. But he did make quite a few plays this year, converted quite a few third downs, touchdown plays, obviously stuff like that. I just think he played decent this year. Last year, I thought he was horrible. And to see that he became somewhat of a viable option was a major step up for me, because this was like after last year, you would have thought he might be on his way out of the league after this year if he doesn't step it up. And he played pretty good. Played pretty solid, in my opinion. Another one that stepped up as of late, Stone Smart at tight end. You would not have thought that going into this season, but the last 3-4 games, he's been vital. to what their offense has been doing. And this is like the hardest part of the season for them. So a lot of third down conversions and just big like 13, 14, 15-yard chunk plays that have really helped their offense. And I also think he did a pretty good job blocking too, which I think for Jim Harbaugh, that is the thing. Like if you don't want to step in there and block, you're not going to play very much. And that just bleeds into the identity of the team. And we're going to be hard-nosed, we're going to be smash mouth. And as they develop talent and draft players and build out the team the way they really want to build this, they got the makings of something special. And I think Stone Smart just really stepped up in a time where they needed it, when they didn't have tight ends. Played really well. I'm glad that he's still getting some snap share. He's been awesome. I do want to talk about the tackles. They are mainstays, and that could be kind of contradicting the entire point of this video. But Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, offensive linemen, they just don't get love. They just don't get a lot of credit. But those two are mainstays at tackle. They're going to be all pros for the next decade. And if you're Justin Herbert, you got to be thinking, okay, like my left side's good, my right side's good. Now, if we could just handle the shit in the middle so I'm not getting smashed through the face, I could be really damn good with this. But those tackles, they just kept Herbert on his upright the most that they possibly could. And they're just some Pro Bowl level dudes. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, tip the cap to them. They've been super vital to what this offense has been able to do. So, yeah, those are like the main ones. I like what Darius Davis did too. Obviously, the last couple of games gets a touchdown against the Broncos on just an insane throw from Herbert. And then, obviously, he has a touchdown today on which was an insane catch by Darius Davis against the Patriots. The return stuff, I think, is the most important thing for him, though, because he's one of the best returners in the league. It's nice when the other team's punting, and you think he might be able to break this one, which in years past, you'd never thought that with any Chargers returner. So when you see he catches it and you're like, oh, one juke, two juke, okay, it might be a house call. That stuff, it brings a little bit of excitement to the special teams game, and I think he's just been good. Speaking on the special teams, Cameron Dicker, that's the second best kicker in the league, in my opinion. First, Brandon Aubrey, I think that dude just been a sicko this season. But Cameron Dicker has been legit. I think he's 93% on his field goals this year. That's everything you could ask for out of your kicker. He kicks them from 55, 56, 58, 59 yards. Like, he's just been really, really damn good. Get him to the Pro Bowl. Vote him in. I think he's been awesome. And if we want to keep it to where, like, someone that's like a special player, I guess, Scott Matlock is kind of the last guy I want to talk about, fullback and defensive tackle. I thought he got better every week as the season went on, as he got more comfortable playing in this fullback role. And I thought he was just important to the identity of the team, too, for what he was able to provide, because it just made them more smash mouth. And I think when you just look at it in totality, all these guys stepped up in a massive way at certain points of the season, throughout the season, and that's why they're going to the playoffs. Yes, you're going to the playoffs because you have a top 5 quarterback. You have a legit wide receiver one in Lad McConkey. Like, you have all these things, right, that were important. But it's the other guys that make up a playoff team. You can't get there off of 3 or 4 good players or great players. You need other dudes to step up at all points in the season. And that's what the Chargers got. And I think it has a lot to do with the front office putting the right guys on the coaching staff, which obviously that's Harbaugh and Ortiz and all those guys. It's a full collective effort to turning a team that lost a game like 63-21 last year and completely gave up, to now they're going into the playoffs. And while they may not be the most feared team in the league, that's a team that is like, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a dogfight. And you're going to have to earn that win if you're going to beat them. So I feel really good about what this season is. They don't even necessarily need to win a playoff game for me to be happy, because like I said, I was expecting 5 or 6 wins. So we're already at 10. They probably beat the Raiders and get to 11. That's an insane year. But yeah, shout out to all those dudes, man. Let me know in the comments who you were most impressed with. You can tell me the stars too. Obviously, they got a lot from Justin Herbert, from Derwin James, and guys like that. But I just think that this was a total team effort, and in years past, it was kind of a superhuman effort from Justin Herbert just to win some games. And it was nice to win some games this year where it's like the defense got us. The defense has got it. JK, the running game's got it. Like, one of these guys is going to make a play. It was just nice to know that it wasn't just going to be all reliant on one guy. And I think that is so, so important for the long-term success. And they're going to have some cap space. They're going to have some draft picks this offseason. And it's going to be fun to see how this roster gets, constructed. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you like this kind of content. Please let me know I just, I feel really happy with what the Chargers have done this year. And a lot of dudes deserve a lot of credit. But let me know if you got somebody else I did not name that deserves more credit. Because I listed like 15 to 18, 20 dudes. So, yeah, shout out to the Chargers. Getting to the playoffs. I'm super hyped.